Hi, I'm Bart Herbison, Executive Director of the Nashville Songwriters Association, and this week, the story behind the song for the Tennessean and Tennessean.com. You know, it stretched out on the record a long ways because it's called Sold, the Grundy County Auction Incident, written by Rob Royer and our guest today, the great Rich Fagan. You know, Rich, you and I have known each other for a long time, and we talk music and so many songs. I did not know this story till just before this interview today. I always thought this, I'm about to give you a compliment. I always thought this was that you'd been up to Grundy County and this actually happened, because it's a great song that just keeps appearing in a million different places that we'll talk about. But you made the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, Rob Royer and I,
Rob from Bread.
Yeah, family member of Bread, the group, not the gene pool. You know. I always say Rob was in Bread. But anyway, yeah, we were at this benefit at the Boardwalk Cafe, and I did a set, and afterwards we were talking, and he said, I ran into this slow-talking Tennessean guy, and I said, what do you do for a living? He said, oh, I'm an auctioneer. He said, really? So
which is funny in and of itself, a slow-talking auctioneer.
Yeah, but by the way, later that night, the guy got up and he was good.
Yeah.
He just talks slow. It's like singing. It uses a different part of your brain, I guess auctioneering does. But anyway, he said, could we write a song about an auction? I said, sure. I know there's only one song, The Auctioneer by Leroy Van Dyke, and I don't really know how it goes, so let's have at it. So I just was making up a dummy melody. In fact, the chorus, you know, once I realized what I had, and that first day, it was like Norma Jean Riley's going to fall for me. It ain't now, folks. But anyway, so we got a good start on it, maybe a first verse and a part of the chorus. And so over the phone, I said, hey, man, how about if we say, I'm sold, you know, I'm going once, going twice, sold. And he said, no. But he called me up about a half hour later. He said, well, if he sold on later, I went, yeah. So
I'm glad he called you back.
Oh, real. But Rob's like that.
Yeah.
It's fun. We wrote another song, and you couldn't say L.A. twice. So I went, City of Angels. He went, good. But yeah, Rob's wonderful. But anyway, then the other thing was that we pretty much had the chorus, and we hadn't gotten to going once, going twice, sold. So usually in a chorus, that would be it. I'm going once, going twice, sold. There you go. But that's not it. And I think that's what made it even hookier, is because just when you think you heard the hook, boom, we hit you with it. First time I did it at the Boardwalk Cafe, I got like a standing ovation in the middle of the song. And you know, it's not a listening room, and it's like, man, I quieted the room. I said, I know this is a hit. You know, funny thing about Grundy County, though, is Austin Church at the Chili Shack show. We worked from like 86, 88, we did 4 shows for WSMV. So he said, well, Rich, where'd you get that Grundy County from? I said, well, Austin, remember you did a bit on the Chili Shack, and you said so-and-so from Grundy County won a free trip to Scumby, Alabama, and a year's supply of potted meat. He says, do I get credit? I said, no.
Altamont, Tennessee.
I hear stuff, you know.
Wow, that I'm going to repeat it. I can't believe that wasn't a real song. Because here's why, and again, it's a compliment. It paints such a scene. Every time I hear that song, I'm in Grundy County at the auction, and I see the pretty lady. Tell me about that line.
I don't know. You know, it just came out. You know, I knew that I always liked Rattle's words, but I know they got to sound right and they got to say something, you know. And, hey, pretty lady, why don't you give me something? I don't know. It just seemed to be what needed to be said, you know, once we set it up, you know. So I just shouted out above the crowd, there's your feeder line. So, hey, pretty lady, why don't you give me a sign? You know, it just came out that way.
Had you ever auctioneered?
No.
It sounds like it.
I can talk fast. Chris Clark wrote a song twice as fast as that called Hectic. And Trina Barnes sang the demo for free. She just moved to town. It was that. Now that's a fast song. Never got cut because nobody can sing it. But
so, how did it make its way to John Michael Montgomery?
We were very fortunate there because, you know...
Because he absolutely... Cletus, other people have done it, but that was the right guy for that song.
Oh, absolutely. Because the tip sheets at the time said looking for "Be My a la Be My Baby Tonight," and I knew, well, yeah, but not really. You got to outdo it. And gun to my head, I couldn't have done it. But once we wrote that song, I knew we had done it. And it's funny because the album that it's on, there's a song called "Cowboy Love." It's a wonderful song. You can sing "Be My Baby Tonight" to that. I mean, they only did what they were told to do. But it's funny how that happens because. I mean, with George Strait, too, Overnight Mail, biggest tonnage. And, they said, don't pitch anything that would be George Strait. Pitch Travis Tritt because he's playing a character. We wrote it for Strait. And Tom had said, to pitch it. I went, yeah, but, they don't. He says, I'll pitch BB's version, BB Watson. They took exactly what they said they didn't want. You never know.
So the lesson is there, you got to do what you think is right.
I think you just got to write the best song you can, and if you love it, maybe you'll be lucky, and everybody else loves it too. They just got to get to hear it.
A lot of people go, what? It doesn't sound intellectual. I'm the biggest TV junkie ever. I have like 7 of them. They're always on, even on when I sleep. Movies. That song keeps showing up. Reality shows here, there, and even some kid on YouTube singing it.
I have a Scandinavian version. It's on a Peanuts album it's supposed to be Snoopy singing. It's a little kid. He sounds like Bubba Strait when he was a kid. He sang on that soundtrack. And you sing a song about the heartland. Now he's writing with his dad and stuff.
Wow, but it's got a long shelf life. So you do it a little differently, and we're going to hear it in just a second.
Yeah, you know what? Like I was telling Bart earlier that for years I've been doing the parody of it. So it's really hard to concentrate and do the song. And he said, "We'll do the parody."
Yeah, that's what we want to hear in just a second. Rob Royer and our guest Rich Fagan sold the Grundy County auction incident. And that's the story behind the song this week for the Tennessean and Tennessean.com. Rich Fagan.
Please, T. Judd talked me into writing this parody and then added about 3 more people to it, but it goes like this. This is called Stole the Copyright Infringement Incident. Watch me start running into the real song. Well, I went down to a Music City function where I just heard a song I had to have. My lawyer told me to proceed with caution, or else you'll make a lot of songwriters mad. But I said, hey, help that John Michael won't mind if I took his song and made a man on mine like I did so many times with Tim McGraw. Yeah, I've never heard anything sound so fine. Mind if I borrow 1 or 2?